Hey guys, welcome. So glad you could carve out some time for restorative yoga today. I'm going to invite you in today's practice to let this be the pause before starting something new. I know myself sometimes when there's something new happening or excited about what's to come, I can be ready to dive right into that without taking that time to pause, assess, reflect, make space before continuing on. So I just invite you to see how it feels to take that time to settle, whether it's you're starting your day or you're moving into something else that's new and different, to take a little time to reconnect back. For today's practice, if you have a couple of pillows, if you have regular bolsters and blocks and stuff like that, great, have that. Maybe even have a couple extra pillows nearby. That's all we'll need for today. We're going to start lying down on our stomach. Now, I have the pillow set up where I'm going to have that across my chest. You may just want one, you may want a blanket underneath there. So, throughout this whole practice, just play a little with props, see what sets you up well to feel really supported. Right, so, chest across, arms in front. We have to wiggle around a little bit to find that just right place. So, really setting it up like a restorative sphinx pose. If two gives you a little bit too much back bend, and especially to start off with, go a little lower, make it your own. And then once you settle in, also see if you can find the place where your legs can relax really well. So that might mean just a little bit wider. Like mine aren't out crazy wide, but a little space in between so they don't have to work. And then let them soften. And you can keep your chin moving down towards your chest. If you have a block and you want to do your forehead to a block, that can be a really nice way to support here, but you don't by any means really need the block, and just be a little extra. And then see what it feels like to just soften or close your eyes. See if you can let this first pose just be about connecting to your breath. Maybe you've been aware of your breath all day. Maybe this is the first time. And just start by bringing your attention there. What does your breath feel like? Where does it feel like it's moving to? Just notice. Does it feel fast or slow? And does it feel shallow or deep? And it's feeling a little shallower to start with, right? That's often what we do during the day. And see if you can now start to bring some attention to where your belly connects down to the ground, to your mat, wherever you are. And just by bringing your attention there without even actively changing anything, does your breath start to shift at all? And then see if you can bring your attention now to that space along the sides of your body, ribs, that whole midsection between hip and armpit. And without, again, having to make anything happen, can you just start to bring a little breath to those areas? Sometimes just by bringing our attention there, the breath will start to shift. And then once you notice and feel that, no hurry. If it doesn't connect right away, it's fine. It's just really about bringing attention to breath. And if you can notice that area and the space in the lower ribs, where your kidneys are, So you can start to fill that space underneath your low ribs with a little bit more breath. It might even feel like it starts to expand, puff up towards the ceiling. And then just notice how your breath feels moving in all of those directions. And from here, let's see if we can start to lengthen out your exhale just a little bit. Right, so notice where your breath is now. You might be inhaling to a count of 3 or 4 or 5. And just make your exhale breath one beat longer, right? One count longer. So if you're inhaling to 4, exhale to 5, etc. Great cue to the nervous system to start to ground and settle. Also, really nice way to shift your attention to something really concrete so the mind can maybe get a little space as well. And with each exhale breath, can you let your body start to settle and soften just a little bit more? Right, feel it sink down to your support or to the ground, whatever feels like is holding you right now. You're really releasing any effort and just settling into that space that feels really supported. And just give yourself a few more breaths there. No hurry, no rush. And as you're ready to move, just let it be really slow, right? There's nowhere to get to. And ease your way out after we've been there for a little bit of time. And you can use your hands. We're going to find our way to tabletop in whatever fashion works best for you. Hips over knees, shoulders over wrists. And give yourself just a few really slow rounds, like half time, slow of cat and cow. And then a little bit of movement back through the lower back, all along your spine, but after that nice supported back bend. And then from here, we'll make our way into a supported child's pose. Okay, so lots of options for props. Take your knees out wide, bring your big toes together. And for some of us, this pose is great. For some of us on knees, it's a little more challenging. You're welcome to slide a pillow behind your knees. If you have a blanket and you want to do that, you can do that. All right, the other option is a pillow and or 2 pillows. Long ways down your torso. So you have something to rest on as your torso comes forward. Right, you can stretch your arms out long. You can let them rest back by your sides, whatever feels like the most supported place to be. And by that meaning least effort. And you can just really let your body settle into that support. This is the idea of our restorative practices, really feeling supported. Like there's time and there's space. And there's plenty of breath, right? So you can start to come back to that longer exhale. You don't want to be pushing or forcing anything. Just really feel like you're emptying all the air out. Give it that little bit extra count. And with each exhale, to settle the weight of the body in just a little bit more. And can this practice be the time to rest before starting over or starting new? Right? When do we give ourselves that space? Whether it's a new year, a new job, a new house. Sometimes it feels like there's this hurry to get things done before we start again. What would it feel like instead to give yourself that space to settle your energy? Whether you're excited about something new or hesitant or worried, just let that sink in. Let it be whatever it is. And then feel like you had the rest so that you feel like you have enough energy then to start whatever is new. That we're not going in tired and depleted, but instead energetic. Maybe excited without frazzled. I think that sometimes is its own little fine line. And so just notice how you feel today as you begin the practice. Maybe you picked restorative because you are feeling low energy or tired. Maybe you picked it because it's on the opposite end. Things are feeling a little stressed or anxious and you want to ground that. Just notice your starting point. And then how would you like to feel when you're done? Right? What does that intention look and feel like? There's no right answer, there's no wrong answer. And so what do you want to move your energy? What direction? And we're going to take just a few more breaths here. Slow and steady. You may even feel like you can start to slow the breath down a little bit more, meaning that it would add another count to where you're at with your breath. When you try and do too slow, it can actually trigger their nervous system. So find the place that feels restful without trying to overdo the length of the breath. And again, as you're ready, move in your time. We're going to come forward again to tabletop. You can slide your pillows off to the side for a moment and either take a couple rounds of cat-cow if that felt good, or one at a time. You can stretch a leg out behind you and just rock back and forth on your toes if that would feel good to open up your knees and ankles. Whatever little movements feel good without over efforting. And go ahead and sit back on your heels, bring your legs around. We're going to set up for a supported reclined butterfly. So you can do, again, two pillows if that feels like a good place to be. That might be too much back bend, too much lift for you, right? Which is not uncommon. So you can play with it, kind of find the right place. This is where if you have blocks, you may want them underneath your thighs as we come into butterfly. I'll give you a couple other options for your legs if that doesn't feel like a great place to be. Right, so it's nice to be in the middle of your mat, snuggle, right, your low back up against that support, and then just start to lean back. You may need to play with it a little bit to get it just right. Okay, and then if you have blocks and you want to do supported butterfly, great, right? Feet together, knees out wide. If that doesn't feel like a really restful place, like if this brings up a lot of sensation, I really encourage you to try something else, and that might be the opposite. Feet feet wide and knees together. That might even be just legs out long, like Shavasana legs. Play a little, choose what feels right. And then choose where you want your hands to be. It might feel really soothing to have them somewhere along your body. It might feel nice to bring them out a little bit wider, either by your sides or like a cactus shape. Right, so we're really not looking for the sensation. You're looking instead for the support. What can make this pose feel even more restful? And that likely means not trying to breathe into that edge of sensation. And if what the sensation feels like shifts at any point along the way, then shift your pose. Just because we stay here for a little bit of time doesn't mean you can't alter that as we go. And it's nice to find the rest and the quiet, but if not if that's challenging where the physical body is. And if you haven't already, just let your eyes close, or even just get soft, whatever feels better for you here. And feel that support along your back, whatever you're leaning into. And then let things settle just a little heavier there. Can you feel shoulders drop down? That might even be down and away from your ears. If your hands are on your body where you can feel your breath, just notice where it goes. That feedback of hands on body sometimes can be really nice for just bringing attention back to breath, or even noticing right, where you're breathing into, just like we did with the belly down. But don't feel like you need to put your hands there if it feels comfortable to have them out wide. And see if you can start to invite your body, your mind, a little bit more into that space of rest. Even shorter periods of rest are so beneficial before we begin something new. And it might even be a new task in the day, right? When you're switching from one thing to the next. Right? We don't even always take those few moments to regroup, catch our breath, and enter it into a place that feels rested and clear. And I think the more we ask ourselves to do that, the quicker that space comes. It becomes more of a muscle memory to drop into a really restful place. So that whether you have 30 minutes, right, for a practice or 30 seconds to take some really intentional breath and get that place to reset. And those little snippets of rest can really be beneficial all throughout the day. And I think especially when we're about to start something new, when we go in rested, clear, and focused, it's only going to put us a little bit more where we want to be to start. And give yourself just a few more moments here. Right, no hurry, no rush. And with a slow breath, let the transitions be really slow as well. As you're ready, if your knees are wide, you can reach down, help them together so your legs don't have to work much. If you're using blocks, you can set them off to the side. And then just gently roll to one side or the other. And give yourself a couple few breaths there, just so it feels like you're easing out of the pose. If you need to slide your pillows off to the side, do that. And then when you're ready, just use your hands, help yourself part way up. And we're going to set up a pillow or both pillows over on the left side of your mat. Again, you'll be able to choose what you want for support and then come back down onto your back. Good. Once you're there, bring your right knee into your chest, stretch your left leg out long. We're going to set up for a supported twist. And so as you bring your right knee across, maybe it stacks onto one or both pillows. Sometimes it helps to scoot the hips a little bit so your right hip stacks on top. Just so you're not having to effort, the stacking of the bones can really help things to settle. And I invite you to think about giving yourself maybe a little bit more support than you might usually. And so you're not having to effort. Again, there's no sensation. And bring your right arm wherever that's comfortable, if that's out to the side. You may even keep your left hand to your right thigh. Sometimes that little bit of pressure can feel so settling. And then soften or close eyes. And let your body start to settle into that support. Can you feel that there's a bit of surrender to the ground, to your pillows, and to whatever it is that's happening in your body in this moment? Right? If that's pain, move away. But if it's just the feelings that are happening, the emotion that's happening, where can you let that be? Knowing that you are doing all you can to support your body, your breath in this moment. Right? Usually, when we're starting something new, there's an element of change involved. Some people are great at change, love it, it's exciting. Right? We do want to dive head in. Right? For others, it's a little more stress inducing or just worrisome, not good with the uncertainty. Sometimes we feel all of that. And as we're navigating that at the same time, where can you just surrender to what it is? And to whatever the new is bringing. So that just like in this restorative practice, we're not fighting against it. We're just letting ourselves settle into it. And that there's a softening around whatever it is more than hardening into that, into the change. And see if you can take a few more breaths on this side. No hurry, you're just going to start to unwind, come back to center, and you can bring both knees into your chest and take a really slow rock side to side. Again, or if there's any other little movement that feels good in between, do that. Just nice to give yourself a pause, let things reset from side to side. And then when you're ready, switch sides. So keep left knee in, stretch right leg out. And if you're using something for support, pillows, blankets, bolsters, blocks, just scoot that over to the second side. And then as you're ready, bring your knee across your body. Left arm can come out wherever it's comfortable. Wiggle around until you find the right place so that you can set that up now and you're not trying to do that during the pose. And it may be more restful here to either look up or look towards your right instead of taking that bigger twist with your neck to the left. And start to feel the softening of your body into this side. And see if on this second side, it's going to be our last pose before Shavasana. You can come back to where we started with just paying attention to your breath. Maybe those longer exhales still feel good. Maybe you've let that go, and that's fine. Let's see if you can let the rest go, and then that becomes your single point of focus. And when you do that, does it give your mind a little bit more space to rest? And sometimes we set up the quiet in our bodies without inviting the mind to follow. or that it might just be more challenging to follow some days. And if your attention drifts away from your breath while you're working towards that, just be gentle, notice that, invite it back. And we're just going to take a few more breaths on this side. And slowly, you start to unwind, come back to center. You can bring both knees into your chest again if that feels good. Rock side to side. And from here, we're going to move into maybe a really nice supported Shavasana. So if you want a pillow under your knees, if you want to go back to a pillow under your head or like down your spine like we had before, if you have a blanket nearby and you want to use that, do. But maybe give yourself a little more than you might usually for Shavasana. And I'm going to get you guys settled in here, give you a couple minutes, but if you have longer and want to stay, please do, right? If this about half an hour is what you have, great. I'll give you a couple minutes here. But if the rest is feeling really good, really necessary, just stay. As you get yourself all situated and settled in and soften through your eyes and face. See if one more time you can just let the body really surrender. Notice how just this little bit of rest feels for body, for mind, for breath. Do you feel more prepared maybe to do something different, to make a shift, right? Whether that's something small within the day or something larger that you're working towards or that's happening around you. What does it feel like to take the time to pause instead of just continuing, continuing, continuing? And I'm just going to leave you here. If you're ready, you can slowly work your way out. If you have more time, please stay. Get the rest that you need. Thank you so much for sharing practice.